All right, let's get into it. What we have here is a pile of really cool, precision-engineered parts. And what we're going to do today is turn all of this into a sleek, high-performance micro-racer chassis. It's kind of like a high-tech puzzle where every single piece has to fit perfectly for the whole thing to work.
And here's a look at that transformation, right? On the left, that's where we're starting. All the components laid out and ready to go. And on the right, well, that's the goal. A fully assembled, performance-ready machine. We're going to walk you step by step from A to B. It's going to be awesome.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we'll lay the foundation. Then we'll build out the drivetrain, engineer the steering, and finally, we'll have a complete chassis.
All right, let's kick things off with part one, laying the foundation. You know, you can't build a great racer without a perfect base, and that's exactly what we're doing here. Getting the chassis ready for everything that's coming. And this is the star of the show, at least for now. This one 3D printed piece is literally the backbone of the entire build. Everything, and I mean everything, connects to this. It's super light, but also really strong, and it's designed to hold every little part in exactly the right spot. It really is the skeleton of our racer.
Okay, so first things first, we're going to do two simple but super important things. We're going to press in the two little bearings for the rear axle. These are what's going to let the wheels spin super smoothly with almost no friction. Then, we'll pop in these two 1mm rods up front that'll hold the steering assembly later. Trust me, you want to do this now before things get crowded.
Okay, foundation's prepped. Now for the fun stuff. Part 2, building the drivetrain. This is the powerhouse, the heart of our micro racer. This is all the stuff that's going to get the power from the motor to the wheels. This is the muscle.
So these are the pieces we're working with for the rear end. You've got your gears, some tough metal rods, these tiny little flange bearings to keep things slick, and obviously the wheels. Every single piece here is crucial.
Now pay attention, because this first step is a real pro tip. We're actually going to bore out the hole in the main gear just a little bit, to 1.6 millimeters. It sounds tiny, right? But that tiny bit of extra space is a game changer. It makes sure the gear spins on the bearings and not on the rod itself. That's how you kill friction. After that, we just press fit the bearings into the gears and then slide the whole thing onto the rods and right through the chassis.
So you just slide the gear and wheels on and tighten them up.
And listen up, here's another super important detail. When you tighten those wheels, do not crank them down all the way. You want to leave a tiny, tiny gap between the lock nut and the chassis. Seriously, this little detail is everything. It's the difference between wheels that spin forever and wheels that bind up and kill your speed. No tension, no friction.
And boom, just like that, the rear wheels and gears are all mounted up. We've got a solid axle all ready to go. You can see it, right? It's really starting to look like a race car now.
Okay, now for the last part of the powerhouse, the motor itself. First, you've got to press this little pinion gear onto the motor shaft. Now the key here is alignment. You want to line up that pinion with the main gear so they mesh perfectly. You know, not too tight, not too loose. Get that right and you'll get smooth power and your gears will last forever. Once it's perfect, just lock it down with 2 screws.
And there we have it. The powerhouse is complete. The motor's in, the gears are meshed, the wheels are on, the whole rear end is done. That looks awesome.
All right, so we've got the brawn, now it's time for the brains. Part 3, engineering the steering. All that power is useless if you can't tell it where to go, right? This is how we're going to get that precision control. Okay, everybody, stop for a second and look closely at this diagram. This is your roadmap for the entire front end. See those callouts for the different hole sizes? Getting those spot on is, well, it's everything. If you want steering that's smooth and responsive with zero slop, you have to get this right before you put it together. So I'm going to ask you point blank. Are your measurements exact? Go ahead, check them again. I'm serious. Being off by even a fraction of a millimeter here will feel like a mile of slop on the track. A little precision now is going to pay off big time later. Okay, let's build the front wheels. It's a lot like the back, really. We're going to press fit the bearings so the wheels spin freely, then throw on the rubber tires. Then you'll need to cut 2 little metal rods to exactly 16 millimeters each for the axles. And check this out. These little 3D printed caps just pop right on to hold the wheels in place. Super neat.
Now it's time to put it all together. Remember those vertical rods we put in at the very beginning? Well, the wheel assemblies slide right onto those. Then this rear bar connects them both so they turn together. The steering servo drops into its own special slot, and then you connect it to the wheels with this bent rod. That little rod is what turns the servo signal into actual steering.
And here's a good look at the servo, just sitting perfectly in its slot. The electronic brains of the steering are installed, now we just gotta button it all up.
This is it, the last step for the front end. This cover slides down over those rods and basically sandwiches the whole steering system together. A couple of screws from the bottom lock it in place, making everything stronger and keeping all those important bits protected.
And just like that, chassis assembly complete. It's no longer a pile of parts, it's a rolling chassis. A little piece of microengineering that you put together yourself.
Just look at that, the final result of all that precision work. A fully assembled mechanical chassis. You've got a drivetrain that's ready to rip and a steering system that's ready to carve corners. This is what all that attention to detail was for.
So, the mechanics are ready to go. You've built a perfect rolling chassis, just waiting for a soul. The only question left is, how are you going to bring it to life? What electronics are you going to choose? What kind of body are you going to put on it? Believe it or not, the real fun is just getting started.